Today we talk the right social media marketing mix. I've got a special guest today, riding shotgun, sitting co-pilot.
Hi.
Andrea, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Dennis.
And we also talk about our big announcement, which is the DOYO Live Benefactor Program, which is super exciting. So everybody, thanks so much for dropping in on a Friday. My name is Dennis Schiraldi. I am the founder of DOYO Live, the Digital Marketing Interactive Design Conference in Youngstown, Ohio. So as we get started and jumping into our Benefactor Program, I just want to thank everybody as you're getting settled into your seat on a Friday. Hope that you got a cup of coffee, and just want to thank you for taking the time to drop on by and participate in today's Facebook Live for the DOYO Live Marketing Show. All right, so here we go. We're going to talk about the Benefactor Program. This is a year-long sponsorship commitment where we're going to integrate the benefactors into our content marketing strategy. You're going to see blogs from these organizations onto our website. They're going to be included into our email strategy, bi-directional engagement through social media. We will be out consulting with these organizations as well and providing workshops and some ongoing help for them in their business. So it's a really exciting thing. It's a real, I think, game changer. And then as we approach the conference into 2017, they will have a very prolific role in participating and presence in that. So the reason why Andrea is here today is the fact that our first benefactor that we want to talk about, that I'm super pumped, super excited, and I can't believe that this one happened, but it's a really great fit for the conference and for Youngstown as a whole, as we stand for Do Youngstown, and that's Valley Digital Services. They are one of the premier digital marketing entities, agencies in the area that are providing a great deal of services. And Andrea DiPaolo here is the marketing and sales director for Valley Digital Services. And I'm going to let her talk a little bit about their business, because it's going to be better coming from her than me.
Well, thanks, Dennis. I'm happy to be here. I attended the conference last year as an attendee, and it just kind of seemed like a perfect fit for us. Valley Digital Services is almost 2 years old, so we're kind of new in the area, but we do have the backing of WFMJ-TV and The Vindicator. So we've kind of spun off, learning what we learned from TV and print, and have seen a need for digital services in the area. A lot of our local and regional businesses, they need a little bit of help. So that's what we're here for. And we do everything starting from, the ground up. If you don't have a website, we can help you build a website. If you don't have a Facebook, we can help you do that. So we provide any services that anybody needs, and we're local. So that's what's important to us.
No doubt. So, with the fact of the matter is that 90% of all buying decisions start with online search. Such a huge component. And one of the really big benefits as well, in addition to that, is the horsepower that's behind that, and being able to integrate a digital strategy with the media mix that also is backing Valley Digital Services with WFMJ and The Vindicator as well.
Right.
It's a very powerful engine, very powerful story.
Right, and we've seen that, as you said, things start online, or, things are moving online, and we've seen that with our advertisers. A lot of the time, a TV commercial is great, but you need something to supplement that after.
Right.
People, see your commercial on air, well, they want to go and find you. Everybody sits by their TV or reading their paper. They have their phone next to them, as I do, sitting here. But you have your phone right with you, and you have your phone with you all the time. So you want to make sure as a business that you're there. When those people, are seeing your commercial or reading about you, you want to make sure that they can find more information. And that's where we come in.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And it's interesting. Last night I settled. I got a question from a good friend of mine, Jeff Herman, who actually presented 2 tracks. We really took advantage of Jeff last year, and I owe him one. So he did 2 tracks on social selling, and he also presented at Content Marketing World as well. So that's kind of the echelon of people that we have speaking at the conference. Mm-hmm. And he hit me up with a question earlier in the week about Twitter, and we were kind of just going back and forth about what's Twitter going to look like in 2017, and what was really interesting as you bring it up of watching. Last night I had my my handheld, I had my laptop, and I had the TV on in the backdrop. And Twitter now broadcasts live NFL football,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
obviously
on
goes
Thursdays.
on Thursdays, which
Thursday
is
night.
on your network.
Yeah, NBC.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so it was really interesting. Like, that's the world that we're living in today. And as things break for commercial, you generally go to your phone. And so there's definitely a play that goes back and forth bidirectionally with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And people are looking for more content as well, information, content. What can you provide them on top of the advertising on TV or in print?
And by the way, that's another arm that that really, at the end of the day, when you sit down with somebody holistically, that you could bring to the table, because you have a content creation arm as well, right?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we have, we can provide blogs for people. With the Facebook, we do the Facebook management, so we can help, create posts for your business.
Right.
And all social media. I guess Facebook right now is the most prominent, and we're on Facebook. So.
Absolutely, and we're going to get into that in
Yeah.
a little bit later in the conversation. And last but not least, before I move on, just to announce some of our other benefactors, is the fact that when we were coming into the conference last year, the Vindicator provided, one of the parent companies of Valley Digital Services, provided us with such a great deal of coverage going into that event. There were multiple people that were along the way: Todd Franco, Kalia Hall, and Mr. Louis B. Free. All of them were very positive in covering the event, pre, during, and post, and we were very gracious to that. And the other was the people down at WFMJ as well. So this happened all before, Madonna Pinker, Jennifer Brindisi. Actually, Jennifer was one of the first people to really invest, just from a public relations and a story perspective, to say this is very interesting. And it meant the world to me going into the conference. And, obviously as things materialize, I'm very happy with the fact that you guys are on board.
Well,
and I think it's a great relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge to bring a conference like this to Youngstown. So that was something that wasn't lost on us. We're local. We're a local company, locally owned, have been for years. So that, it felt right, for us to, if nothing else came of it, definitely, bring some attention there.
Yeah, no doubt. That's great to hear. So if you have any questions today, we're going to do our best to try and make sure that we pause for a moment and get those questions answered for you. We'll try and pay attention to both.
Yeah.
The next group I'm super excited, super pumped to announce is Juggerbot 3D. They have a full 3D printing ecosystem, and they are about to turn the world of 3D printing right on its ear. These guys are unbelievable. They are a portfolio company down at the Youngstown Business Incubator. I have known Dan Fernback and Zach DiVincenzo now for a little over 2 years. A couple years ago, they called me up and said, hey, we need some help with some marketing strategy. So we got together on Saturday mornings for it was like 3 or 4 sessions, and we sat down, and this was just like me going in and working with them and talking with them, and they have this unbelievable energy as entrepreneurs. They're Youngstown State alum, as you are as well.
I am.
And we are actually coming to you today from the Williamson College of Business, where our event was last year. So Danny and I would get together, and Zach, and we were working on some marketing strategy, and I was helping them with them initial stage, business planning stage. So I've seen the company literally almost from ground floor to where it currently is today, and the fact that they have a very commercial viable product. And the really cool thing about it is that most times when you look at 3D printing, it's in its infancy. A lot of people don't understand rapid prototyping or additive manufacturing. But their product basically has a patented application to it that differentiates it from other systems that are out there on the market today. Not only that, but they can print different materials that are of different grades that most printers cannot touch. Very specific to the tool and die shops of the world in manufacturing, aerospace, automotive, medical device, and academic research. And you kind of maybe scratch your head a little bit, and you're saying, what does a 3D printing company with a whole software ecosystem have to do with this? So, exactly, I love this, and it's always better than when I got a cohort that this is acapella, right? So, we are really definitely looking to build out the B2B relationship in the area, in the manufacturing, Northeast Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, wholly steeped into that manufacturing type of world. Obviously coming from where we were and now where we're going, and 3D printing being such a additive manufacturing, rapid prototyping being such a huge player and we're being such a huge player in that world, that we really want to be in the position to be churning out content and educating B2B marketing professionals in the manufacturing sector. And I believe that by having a company in that spirit definitely gives us that opportunity to do that. So we kind of check boxes between media and marketing companies. We're able to check the box in manufacturing, so it's really excited to have those guys on board.
It all works together.
Absolutely. The next one, and I worked on this name because I'm a name hack, and I'm working with him. He's our branding guy. So Socket Knob, that is a creation by the wonderful, creative, and ever talented Mr. Michael Ponticus. He's a Youngstown State marketing professor, full time. He also runs the Youngstown State Ads Club, which is a competitive club of students that get together and they compete in national advertising competitions. And they also, they also do some fundraising work locally. They have an awesome event in the spring. It's called Ads Summit, where they bring in YSU alum and area people to speak with the college students. And Michael also serves as the creative director for DOYO Live. So last year, we worked a lot with RJ Thompson out of Youngstown Design Works to get us started with our web and our logos, and then Mike came in and took over a lot of the initiatives of the creative direction that we were going, and he served on the committee. I like to joke around and say like he's 33% creative director, 33% has his freelance Socket Knob branding shop that is designing ads for people, and 34% my personal psychologist.
Everybody needs one though.
I know, no, because
Keep
like
you sane and on track while you're.
it always seems like kind of, the planning last year for the event was just, the people that were committed to the cause did an absolutely fantastic job. But like anything that you do anywhere is the fact that there's stress that comes along with it. Mm-hmm. You put an event out there,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, you hope people actually sign up for it.
Right.
And then when they sign up for it, then you're like, okay, we hope that we give them a really good experience. So he was there to take the calls morning, noon, and night when we needed things to get done, and I'm forever grateful for that. I'm really looking forward to the fact that he's going to pitch in and help out with a number of the promotional designs in 2017 that will be right around the corner. Yeah, okay, Jacob, thanks, I appreciate that. And yes, appropriately caffeinated today as well, as usual. So,
I've had zero.
uh-oh.
So I need some.
So we're going to have to
Anybody
move
wants
this
to
along,
bring
right?
some?
All right,
Iced coffee.
iced coffee, that's
Yeah.
an endorsement.
I
Like, we're
love
looking
it.
for product placement.
Yeah, iced coffee. That's all I drink.
All right,
I don't
so-
like hot coffee. Even when it's this cold outside, I drink iced coffee. So.
That's great.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. So the next one is our fourth benefactor is R. Kashmiri and Associates Incorporated. They are a benefit plan administrator. They provide, right now it's a really important period in open enrollment, individual, small, large, and group healthcare insurance plans, and other benefit plans administrators for across life insurance, travel insurance, a lot of different things. Ray's been in business for a really long time, and I have a huge amount of respect for him and his business of wanting to take this leap into this area. He's of the mindset that he wants his name to show up on a consistent basis across the board, and hopefully we give him the opportunity to do that. And again, kind of like Juggerbot, you kind of maybe scratch your head and think, why does a benefit person in healthcare want to be associated with a marketing conference? So the first thing you have to think about is that in 2016, we had over 200 people attend DOYO Live. We're delivering about 100,000 impressions in our online ecosystem currently today across our website, email, social media. So we're creating a tremendous amount of awareness for people that are going to be showing up in our feeds and online. The second thing is that out of those 200 people, there's about 188 unique businesses. And I'm guessing that in this day and age where we're in the Affordable Care Act, that everybody basically has a mandate to have healthcare insurance. But more importantly, it's not just the lead generation part that he's looking at to make the connections and the networking. Is that last year we had Dr. Mike Sevilla, who is a huge player in the world of online marketing and social media marketing, who is at Salem Family Practice. He spoke at year one, and Mike is just returning. I think he's still on the road. He actually speaks at a number of national conferences and educates other physicians on how to use social media in their practice.
He did a TED Talk when we had TEDx here in Youngstown.
And he
I was
actually...
on the committee there, and he did a talk.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
he did TEDx too as well. And so I actually come out of healthcare, 10, 12 years in healthcare services and vendor providers as well. And then there was another person out of Highmark Health in Pittsburgh that came in and gave a talk on how to utilize social media to manage your social media complaints. So we had this kind of pseudo healthcare track in 2016, and with the amount of healthcare professionals that are in the critical mass that we have in our immediate town and then in a 65-mile radius, it makes a lot of sense to have somebody like a manufacturing, like the publisher, like the brander, that is in the healthcare genre, that we can churn out some content on healthcare-related marketing kind of topics and try to attract and engage those individuals with a true healthcare track. So we're really excited about having Ray aboard. And then we were shooting for 5, and we're not done. We do have one more spot that is available, and we are currently in discussion with actually 3 different entities.
Oh, geez.
And it's going to come down to one final spot, 3 to 1. So we're going to figure that out, and we're gonna make that announcement in the next couple of weeks. So,
Good, though. Yeah.
Andrea, thanks so much for being here
Yeah.
as a co-host today,
Thanks.
or a
Thanks
guest
for having
appearance.
me. Yeah.
Love that cameo appearance, and we're going to make this a regular thing on a monthly basis. We're going to bring you in. We're going to talk social media strategy,
Yep.
and that's one of the things we want to talk about today. Because the first part, we obviously want to be gracious and thank our benefactors. Without you, we can't pay the bills and we can't do the conference. Plain and simple. So the next thing we want to do is we want to talk a little bit about what's the right social media mix for your business. Currently right now we're coming up on the year end. People are planning 2017. Where do I want to go with my marketing strategy? What do I want to be doing? I feel all this pressure when I write. Maybe I have a blog article and I want to push it out. And do I want to put it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Google+, Snapchat, Vine? No, rest in peace, Vine.
Yeah.
Tumblr,
Vine,
YouTube, LinkedIn, Pulse. Like, where do I go and what do I do? So when you think about social media mix and some of the businesses that you work with and in the way that even Valley Digital Services approaches your social media mix, what are some of the things that you give the consideration in that conversation?
Well, what we do, we start off by talking to the business. What are your needs? What are you looking for? What do you need to accomplish? Who are you looking to reach? There's a whole, list, a whole conversation that needs to go on. This is not a one size fits all. This is custom. So, we have all of these different types of social media that are available to us. So I kind of do an analysis with the client. I say, what are you looking to do? And I go from there and I make the plan for them. I decide what I think will work best based on their targets, what they're looking to accomplish. Facebook is number one.
Yeah.
Obviously, Facebook is king, just as Google is king in the web world. So, obviously we start off with Facebook
Right.
For almost everybody. But Pinterest worked for one of my clients, but it wouldn't work for another one of my clients. So it's all based on what they're looking to do and what their product is. And I kind of, do an analysis and decide what I think would be best for them.
So start with goals and objectives.
Yes.
Let's figure out what you're trying to accomplish, and then you go back, do your research, and you provide recommendations back.
Correct.
Okay. So now
Yeah.
you come back, and the big misperception out there, by the way, is as Facebook grows and introduces new products. Like just literally last night, if you look on your phone, at the bottom of the phone, they've now incorporated a little video feed to make it easier to see video. And today, my entire feed was filled up with nothing but just absolutely video, which just goes to show you like the emphasis that they're putting on video. But they keep evolving the product to make sure that they expand and keep people in the Facebook ecosystem, the way I describe it. And the big misconception as well is that, yes, there is mass adoption of the millennial audience into Snapchat into Instagram. They're still a huge player in the Facebook world. But as you do that, and you come back to me and you make your recommendations, but I say, that's great, but I really heard great things about this Instagram thing, and I think that Snapchat thing's pretty cool. What do you?
Well, Snapchat is pretty cool, but I give them best practices, I guess, for each type of social media that there is. So with Instagram, there's a best practice of, do you have enough pictures or short video that you can put on Instagram to do this? You
Yep.
may like it, but is it actually going to work for you? That's where it all comes in. And then Instagram is now part of Facebook.
Right.
So there's a little bit of tie-in there that makes it a little more accessible, I guess, for some people, where you can use similar content. And I know Facebook, sometimes if you buy Facebook ads, you'll get a few Instagram ads thrown in there,
right.
As a pleasant surprise. So, doing something like that, you can kind of test the waters. We do Facebook advertising. We help people with Facebook advertising, Instagram, Twitter, any advertising on there. What we've come to see is that, some people, some businesses dabble in it a little themselves, which is great. Try it out yourself. But you need to have something consistent. That's where we come in. We can come in, we help manage that, and we, analyze all of the likes and the comments and
Right.
the interaction with the posts and with your page, and we make adjustments based on that. And not everybody has time to do something like that. So that's why it's so important for us to be there. And they may think that they're using Snapchat and they think that it's reaching this audience that they want to reach, and it's not. So we kind of adjust the usage. Snapchat, I haven't really used it for business yet.
Yeah.
There's been no client that's come to me and wanted to use it. It seems like it's more on a personal level.
Right.
Businesses can connect on a personal level with that. But I haven't seen it used yet. Have you?
Well, yes, but let me back up for a second. So,
Yeah.
a couple really key nuggets of information in that is that content's like so one of the things, like people want to come and the fact that you want to be across all these different social media platforms is one thing, but then the content to fuel that and to be engaging and not just to have activity is a completely another thing. And to be able to feed that element is the real big consideration, and being able to figure out, is there a really engaging piece of content that we can create, whether it's a video or a blog post or a case study or an ebook, and now we dig into, okay, here are the delivery mechanisms behind where we want to play, what's the engagement, because you got to manage that. And I don't know if people realize that, once you dip your toe in that Twitter water, like you're either all in or you're all out, right?
Yeah,
There's kind of no in between with the two.
Yeah.
So that is key. And the second thing that you say that really stands out at me is that it's what was working last week is not going to be working this week.
Correct.
The ability to be able to keep up on it, and the velocity at which it changes is so frequent. It's very difficult for a small business owner and even somebody, frankly, that's just running a marketing team to stay up on these changes that take place on such a rapid pace. So what you were doing, you've always got to be testing, you've always got to be analyzing, you've got to be looking at your insights. And I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah.
And that's such a valuable asset. But I have. So on a Snapchat perspective, I have really likened Snapchat. I like what Instagram is currently doing with
The live videos, because they've kind of dabbled into the Snapchat world.
Yeah, exactly. So they've got their stories now, and you can kind of do that, and that's the direct play, and then they introduce like just this little wrinkle to it. So now you can boomerang within that concept. But I really like Snapchat from my own personal perspective to connect with people and send them messages like today, the Facebook Live show.
Right.
So last night I left a series of messages that I can see that I had a lot of engagement and eyeballs on that content. And for the amount of people that we have here today, I think about probably 10 to 20% of those people that saw those snaps last night actually have dropped in today. So thank you very much for stopping by. From a business perspective, you know, it's like any social media. I think it only makes sense if it makes sense for your business. You know, I think WFMJ, I think it's a brilliant play for them to have a Snapchat. I think that Youngstown State University fits that mold holistically to have students doing takeovers of the Snapchat channel and talking about university life.
But it doesn't work for everybody. It's not going to work for every business that
No.
way. You know, it's not like a one size fits all, like I said before.
Right.
You know, that Snapchat is great for the university and it's great for the TV station because you're connecting, we're showing behind the scenes. People love behind the scenes of that. But maybe for a healthcare company, you can't do something like that.
You can't do
know?
behind the scenes
It's
is
not
difficult.
as easy to do a behind the scenes that way. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's why it's really important to have the right people on your team, the right people on your side. You know, doing that analysis for you, helping you out.
And that's another good point. So the mix too is always in the context of the content as well. So this pre-planned content, you know, like this, for instance, is getting huge engagement not only during the course of the time that we're doing this video, but after the video and the way that you're utilizing existing mature platforms. And for me personally, when I see the behind the scenes stuff going on at businesses in the process and the documentation, I absolutely am glued to that.
Right.
The varnish finish thing, I get it. You know, it's why Super Bowl ads is what they sell for. And they have the eyeballs.
Yeah.
And they're really cool. And the next day we all talk about them. But I really like this process as well. So in any case, the right social media mix.
Yeah, and the other thing, you know, talking about content, what you're going to post on Facebook won't always carry over to your Instagram or carry over to your Twitter. So you have to think of.
Well, there was a cleaner person here. Sorry, we are live. So.
You have to think of the platform that you're using and the audience that you're reaching on that platform. So there's more that goes into it than just putting a post out and thinking you're doing your job.
So somebody thinks you're Carrie Underwood's doppelganger.
I get that a lot. Thank you. I get Carrie Underwood, and recently I've been getting a lot of Trisha Yearwood. So I must have the country sector.
You know, Ralph,
I
I've
think it's the big head.
actually done better because I've got Andrea.
What?
So,
Better than Carrie? I don't know.
and here's the deal with that too. Okay, so come back to that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yes. So here's the deal. Like you can't, you know, there's all the social media platforms let you interconnect the device. Not a great idea because we know that there's over hundreds of delivery mechanisms now in marketing. We went from TV, radio, newspaper, billboard, magazine to fax machine to email to social media to different types of social media to text message. Like it just goes on and on and on. And we know that TV, radio, and newspaper are just the most fundamental examples.
Yeah.
Like you cannot obviously advertise and market to a business on the radio the same way you do as TV. It's
Exactly.
just plain and simple.
Yeah.
But the misperception when it comes to social media is that we can basically tell the same story on Facebook that we can on Twitter, that we can on Instagram. Now the lines are a little bit blurred.
A little bit.
It used to be that like the Vindicator had a print publication, but now they've got a website and they've got video.
Yeah.
Right? You look at the same with social media. You know, Twitter gives you the opportunity to have video. They have a live streaming application with Periscope. Instagram has video. So they all kind of do that. But on the bulk of the mix, you can't tell the same story the same way across those different platforms.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
You're right. Yeah, I agree.
All right, so we are at DOYO Live on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Google+, Snapchat,
You're on all of them?
YouTube channel, LinkedIn Pulse, and Medium.
Yeah.
But here's what happens. So we utilize Facebook Live as the main source of the content creation. We then take that content and we have a year's worth of tweets basically within we have a year worth of tweets basically in this little episode right here.
Oh, yeah.
So we go mine that data.
Yeah.
We'll transcribe it.
Yeah.
We'll utilize that on our blog. We'll upload the video into multiple places. And then we also get blog contributions. So like, for instance, this past week we had Valley Digital Services blog on our website. And we also are always open to anybody that wants to contribute blog content. Like I said, we're getting about 100,000, delivering about 100,000 impressions each month in our online ecosystem. And it's to create a tremendous amount of awareness. As long as it's educational in nature and it's going to provide some value to our readership, that's what we're about.
Yeah.
All right.
How do you use Pinterest? I saw somebody commented, and
Oh, did
I
they?
wanted to know
Okay.
that too. What do you put on Pinterest?
I am glad that you're here today because,
To read the comments?
yeah, my wife makes fun of me all the time. She's like, you're such a guy, like you just could do one thing, like you're
you're
not
so
very multitaskable.
Single focused. Yeah.
And the other irony behind that is that I have a Pinterest page, and then like I have.
You personally?
Oh yeah, and I have my own Pinterest.
Yeah.
Well, part of the reason is that in a day-to-day consultation role, I have to
know what it is.
Somebody
And
calls
how
me
it
up,
functions. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
they either going to call me, or I have to say, well, I have a Pinterest expert. So I'm on Pinterest. I have 3 different Pinterest boards. I think the one is Confessions of a Hoops Junkie. So I'm a huge basketball fan.
Okay.
So I flip stories into Pinterest. I wrote a blog, by the way, 2 years ago about 3 reasons why LeBron James is not coming back to Cleveland the day before he made the announcement. And I flipped it to Pinterest, and it's been one of the biggest contributors to the blog, which is typically mostly female.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right. So then I have beer, bourbon, and barbecue.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm always flipping barbecue, or I'm a big barbecue junkie, and I like craft beer. The third one is a private board that I made for my wife and I that I flip Christmas gifts into.
There's another way to use Pinterest, I guess, huh?
Subtle suggestions. But I have the DOYO Live flipboard as well. And what I do is simply I take content and I flip. I'm using the term flipboard because we have a flipboard account as well. But I take the blog content that we utilize, and I notice that as long as we have the high quality image, and I pin stories into Pinterest. And when I look at our analytics, we actually do generate traffic from Pinterest to our page. We don't do much beyond that. I don't get very deep in having the full usage.
Right.
I think that if I were in any sort of retail business, any sort of craft or maker's business, I would absolutely have a Pinterest page and really dig deep into figuring it out.
Right, and that's who I used it for. It was a clothing company actually.
Okay.
A local company who sells just some like kids onesies that are blank, and you can put your own logo on there. So I used Pinterest for them, and it worked. It worked for them.
It did.
It did.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, like I said, it's got such a huge application, I think, especially in that space. It actually, when you look at social media platforms, obviously Facebook is number one. You've got Instagram, you've got Snapchat quickly taking over market share and coming into being a major player. It already is a major player. Then you've got, obviously, Twitter just trying to figure out the landscape. But over here, you've got Pinterest that's got a huge application. And it's in the top 3, 4 of the big players, but yet it tends to get overlooked because of these other applications. But in any case, yeah, I think it's an absolute viable player. But the point of the fact is that you can be as wide as you want to be with this stuff, and if you can't get strategic on the platforms, you're really not going to leverage them to their full capability. Yeah. So we really focus in on Facebook, LinkedIn as the 2 main mechanisms, and then Twitter is just purely a volume play that creates a ton of impressions to keep us engaged with people, and then obviously our website, our blog. And then the utilization of our email marketing as well.
Well, one takeaway from this whole thing is Dennis has a Pinterest page. That's what I'm taking away, right?
That is correct.
But you're right. You do have to know, if you're telling businesses to use this, you have to know how to use it.
Yeah, I'm my
You
own.
have to be there, so.
I am my own test kitchen when it comes to
Same.
all this stuff.
Same here.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like you know, like I'm gonna, yeah, I'm my own test kitchen. I'm gonna see whether or not it's a great meal or if it's just gonna be something that's thrown in the trash.
Yeah.
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 All right. Any closing thoughts?
No.
I love the
no.
fact that you're here today, Andrea. So thank you so much for taking
Thanks for
time out
having
of
me.
your busy day
Thank you.
to stop by. And so glad, looking forward to this partnership moving forward. We're going to do great things.
Yeah.
DOYO Live Super Early Bird registration is currently open. If you subscribe to our email list, you are going to save $125
Wow.
on DOYO Live in 2017, and that will be good until December 31st. The other not big announcement. I'm done with big announcements. Our call for speakers is currently open. So if you want to come in and lead a 30, 45-minute breakout session on DOYO Live, talk about what you know. It creates a tremendous amount of awareness for you, for your business. We will have 400 to 600 people at DOYO Live on August 3rd in 2017. Go to our website at doyolive.com and sign up to be a guest speaker at DOYO Live next year. In the meanwhile, I appreciate so much all of you dropping by. Appreciate Andrea being here today as well. If you want to be featured on a Facebook Live, also inbox me. Thanks so much. Everybody have a great, safe weekend.
Bye.
Get to the tree lighting and get to the Youngstown Flea. Support Youngstown, everybody. We'll see you.
Bye.